and I'll hand over to you to say a bit more about what you do and to introduce today's topic.
Yes, absolutely. Yes, so sorry everyone for that little tech glitch. I'm Lauren, and in case we haven't met yet, I am an education copywriter. So I help people who run education businesses, primarily in the language space, write copy and create content and marketing strategies for promoting their schools or businesses. So I have quite a lot of experience with content myself, but I'm really, really excited to hear from Laura today because she's definitely more of an expert in that area, especially when it comes to the audio-visual content, which is something I haven't really explored. So yeah, like I said, really, really excited to hear what she has to say on that today. So I understand that you've given the kind of overview of Make It Happen and everything. So should we dive straight in?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get into it.
Brilliant. Okay, could you then tell us a little bit about what hero content is and how it can benefit business owners?
Yeah, there's a lot of terms out there, aren't there, in marketing? And I'm not going to talk about hero, hygiene, and hub content. So just to be clear to folk that are watching today, I'm not going to get into that nitty gritty. So when I talk about hero content, I talk about it from the perspective of that kind of big picture content that you record. In my case, I work with audio visual content, and you can then use that and distribute it in many ways. So it's not a case of you as a business owner creating lots of little bits of content to promote your business and build that visibility with your potential clients and existing clients, but it's instead taking kind of a big picture approach of planning maybe a podcast, a video series, or even a live stream series like we've been doing for this series, Lauren and I, Ola and Rachel, to then distribute it in other formats, whether it's a newsletter, clips, audiograms, or even courses. So it saves a lot of time in the long run to kind of think of your content planning from that perspective. Like, what's the big chunk? What's the big hero of my business in terms of the content I'm creating, and how can I redistribute it? So I'm not just creating more and more content, but I'm reusing it in a sensible and time efficient way.
Fantastic. Yeah. So I personally use my blog as my hero content. So the audio visual side is very much new to me. So could you just tell us a little bit about how you would go about kind of deciding or choosing your channel, and then how you then split that up into different types of content?
Yeah, that's a good question, isn't it? Like which format to choose? Like, should it be a live stream, a podcast, or a video series? And I stress series. And that's something we can talk about in a moment. But I think the first thing I kind of come back to is where the business owner's at and what access they have to tech, because the more components we add, like for example, at the start of this live, we had a few technical issues, and there's more complexity that comes with doing a live, and we've also got the visuals as well. So if that's going to be quite a space that's going to prevent somebody from starting creating because there's a few too many technical and learning barriers in place, and that's something to consider. So podcasting may be a bit more of a suitable fit for that business owner in that case, because you just need really a really good microphone and a good space to record and editing software to kind of get started. You don't have that visual or live aspect coming in. So that's one thing in terms of like choosing what's best for the person. And then the other thing to think about as well, and these are not kind of like separate things, they all come together to make the best decision, is what are your clients looking for? What are they doing? And how can they best engage with you? So another example of that would be if you've got really busy clients that you're trying to reach, then expecting them or wanting them to watch a video or video series is going to put a lot of demand on you as a creator to hold their attention. I think it's really difficult to do it now, given the trends we see in YouTube and how highly refined videos are in terms of the editing, the quality of production. So if you're comfortable in that space, that's great. But if you are trying to grapple and get people's attention in already what's a very tight attention economy through the video format and expecting people to spend time on their screens, then I think that's going to come with its own unique challenges and pressures. So again, I would suggest maybe is a podcast a better fit? So your listeners, your ideal listeners, can be spending time doing other things while they're listening to you, rather than, you know, having to stop what they're doing and give you almost their full attention by looking at screens. So that's the two things I look at: tech, where the person's at, what they can manage, what's feasible for them, and also what's best fit for their clients, and the demands that places on them as a creator as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think what you said there about focusing on the tech makes me think of some of the challenges that people are going to be facing when they start thinking about creating audiovisual content. I think, I mean, in my experience anyway, I've noticed that people tend to be quite nervous to record audiovisual content. And then even those people who are a bit more comfortable in front of the camera or recording podcasts, then of course are going to face their own set of challenges.
Yeah.
So could you just tell us a little bit about what those main challenges are that you tend to find people face?
Yeah, it's always unique, isn't it, to the individual? But I do notice some patterns. And I think the first thing that I see people kind of making harder for themselves than they need to is by kind of committing to a weekly series, a weekly edition, whether it's a video or live stream or podcast, right? But kind of locking themselves into that pacing when they really don't need to. I find it really helpful to kind of set small, short-term, sustainable goals so you can explore things, see how it goes, develop your workflow, and think about where you want to go next. So in terms of any form of audio visual content, that can mean recording and planning a series of 6. So that could be 6 episodes of a podcast, it could be 6 lives over the course of a few months, or it could be 6 videos over the course of even days, depending on the pacing that best suits that individual. So I think that's the first thing I see, that people get themselves really kind of stuck because they set out with this big goal of like, yep, I'm going to do this series, I'm going to lock in, and you can imagine what happens. Usually they burn out quite quickly. So in podcasting, there's a very high drop-off rate for the first 3 episodes of a new podcast. And it's most likely, I can probably guarantee, it's probably because they don't have a series planned and they've just, gone straight at it. And that's a quick way to get burnt out and just to get overwhelmed by all the new things you're learning along the process. And sadly, that means what would be excellent, amazing shows that could be very successful and very effective in bringing a return on investment for businesses, don't get past the 3rd episode, which I think is a great shame. So that's the first thing. I would say the second challenge I see folk having is trying to please too many people. And it can be quite difficult as a business owner and creator to be comfortable with the fact that you're not for everyone. And there's going to be some people that listen to or watch your content and not like it. And that's absolutely fine. You don't want to be liked by everybody. You want to be liked by the person you're intending that content to reach. And if you are very clear about who you're creating for and you really visualize them, and this is the same as your ideal client in your business, right? So if you have a really good grip of who they are and you think about those conversations you're having with your clients, really imagine them sat across the table from you as you're planning, as you're recording, as you're editing, and you'll really make sure that you're really providing value to that specific person. And by doing so, you'll be able to attract more people that have that shared need in mind. So it can feel quite counterintuitive to do that when you're trying to clock up the plays or clock up the likes of your videos and podcasts, but you want the right type of people engaging in it. You don't want to catch absolutely everyone, because then your business isn't for everyone. You want to attract your ideal clients. And I think the final thing would be a challenge would be recording stuff and not thinking about the quality in terms of audio quality or visual quality. So I see content that's really great out there, but like, for example, I was listening to a podcast this morning that was really excited. I was really excited to listen to this. I follow the person's work and I clicked listen, and it was very painful to listen to because I could hear the gaps in the edits where there's dead air, which makes it sound like a jump, almost like a vinyl record playing where there's that jump. It sounded like that. And I ended up fixating on that noise that I could hear every few seconds where I knew they were cutting. And I know some people will say, well, Laura, you work in media, of course you're going to notice these things. I can assure you, if you listen to that for 40 minutes, it will drive you absolutely crackers. And it was driving me crackers to a point where I was like, this content's really great and I really want to listen to what the author's saying, but I'm so distracted by this this issue in the quality of the audio that would be so easy to correct had that person just spent a little bit of time or worked with a freelancer or worked with services like myself, we do post-production services and edit it for you, just to polish that, because it's really difficult for people to hang around if the quality of how it's recorded isn't there. It's just, yeah, and it doesn't make your company and what you're saying look that great. I think it's kind of like a dirty shop window kind of effect, for want of a better metaphor. So yeah, those are three.
Absolutely. I actually listened to a podcast. I still listen to it because the content is really good, but I have noticed the same thing. Like there's this kind of jump in every episode. It happens multiple times.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it's not been quite enough to put me off, but it's not terrible. But I think like these days we're just so used to seeing such high quality content out that when something doesn't quite meet that mark, it does become really, really obvious, doesn't it?
It does. And the thing is, it's quite easy to address these things. It's either you need to invest time in learning the skills if you want to as a business owner, if you're creating content, and that's a well worth investment of your time if that makes sense for you, or you outsource it to somebody if you're at a point where you've tried out that series of 6, it's worked really well, and you want to continue with it. Why not just outsource the editing, the technical part to an expert that will do it in, probably what you're doing in a matter of minutes, what would take you hours. So it's going to save you time and get a better result and help you scale that content and get more from it, basically. I don't know why people put themselves through such pain.
No, and especially if you can use that content across multiple channels, I think there's even more reason to invest in, or saving the time and getting the quality.
Exactly. I will say to folk, if you're watching today live, please drop your questions and comments as I'm going, as we're chatting today, because I love to see people's comments and stuff. And I realise I haven't said that, and I realise there's people watching us, and they're probably like, "Oh, should I say something?" Please do. I've noticed the emojis going, so it's really nice to know that you're with us today and spending your lunchtime, if you're in the same time zone as us, with us today.
Yes, absolutely. And I think it's a great chance to pick Laura's brains. So you are going to be speaking at Make It Happen about this topic. Could you tell us a little bit about what to expect from your session?
Yeah, so I'm going to be really interested to hear what people who've already signed up and bought a ticket say. So I'm going to be keenly listening to the feedback I get from those folk who've already got that early bird ticket. And there's still early bird tickets available until the 15th. So if you click on that link, you can find out more about that, which is in the chat there on LinkedIn. So in terms of what I'm planning for my workshop is I really want to help you kind of gain clarity on what that kind of hero content format is going to be for you, what's best for you based on your clients and your strengths that we can build on in terms of audiovisual content. So Lauren, you also mentioned what you're comfortable with in terms of your strengths of delivery as well. Like if you're comfortable on camera, great, let's go with that, let's work with that and lean into that. So that's going to be one key thing we're going to be exploring, and then thinking about how that can then cascade into smaller pieces of content in your business and save you time. We're going to be taking much more of a top-down approach to planning rather than a bottom-up, and I'm also going to be sharing some kind of key best practices when you're planning your content so that you can capture and it can continue to serve you long term rather than just being like a one-trick pony. So we're going to be really kind of brainstorming what are the common questions, challenges and journeys and dreams that you're working with your clients, and how can that be built into that series, whether you're choosing a podcast, video or live stream. Like what would that look like? Because that's going to work for you long after you've published it, if you're addressing like those key kind of concerns or problems that your customers are coming up with, because they're going to continue to search for that and find that and potentially discover you because that's coming up in their feed on their YouTube search or on Google, for example. So there's some of the key things we're going to be exploring, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. Especially because I think it's going to be so actionable. Like, I think all of our sessions are very much centered around kind of learning a little bit and then taking that knowledge and starting to implement it right away. So yeah, it sounds like the perfect place to start if you are considering venturing into hero content and looking to make your lives a little bit easier.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if anyone does have any questions, please drop them in the comments. As Laura said, the very early bird tickets are still on sale, and they will be on sale until the end of the day on Thursday. This is basically the most affordable time that you'll be able to get your tickets, and I think the price really is a steal given everything that we're going to be covering. So yeah, Laura, have you got anything else that you'd like to kind of add to that on content?
No, I think we've covered a lot of things actually in this short chat. And I think if you're watching the replay and you missed this live chat, then you can post questions in the chat, and Lauren and I will get back to you. So don't feel like you've missed out. So feel free to ask me questions about audiovisual content, and the podcast videos and live streams, and also ask us about Make It Happen if you're on the fence about coming, which I really think it's going to be such an amazing event where it's about bringing people that are like-minded together. Like Lauren said, it's going to be super practical, and going to push you to get those kind of tangible actions in place so you can really reap the rewards for yourself and your business.
Yeah, absolutely. So the link is in the comments, and I think you can see it kind of going along the bottom of this screen. So take a look and let any of us know if you have any questions about the event or about making it to Warsaw. Rachel so kindly put together a little travel guide, so if you do have questions about that, they should all be answered in there, and I believe it is accessible from the sales page as well.
Lovely. It's been fantastic being on the other side today. Yeah. Thanks, Lauren, for interviewing me.
You're welcome. Thanks for being such a lovely guest.
Brilliant. So I think that's all we need to talk about today, right? We're good. I'm going to go and enjoy my lunch, and I hope everybody else has a lovely day.
Yes, exactly. Well, thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.